Oh my goodness, you guys. Welcome to the first day of our spinning for sock yarn adventures. I have a whole beginning episode recorded, and I should have had this done an extra day ahead of time. I know that from doing Vlogmas and those kinds of things before. You need to have them done ahead of time, not the day of. And I do have the stuff recorded, but getting it edited and put together and trying to get it uploaded just has been a nightmare, as often happens. And then we have a sick horse, and so that's taking time away from all of this. So this was recorded just on January 7th, on the day of, and I'm just going to put it at the start of some information just to get things out there and to let you guys know that we're still on, we're still going, and I'm so glad for everyone who's here. If you don't know, my name is Carrie, and I'm coming to you from the middle of the Mitten, Michigan's Lower Peninsula in the United States, and I live on a small sheep farm. And here at the start of this year, I just want to get back to my roots of spinning my fiber and making myself some hand-spun, hand-knit socks. And I've invited you to come along with me. And so we'll talk more about that in the actual episode. I don't need to repeat myself for that, but in case you stumbled across this video and weren't sure what's going on. So I'm not going to do any editing of this. It is what it is. Funny hair, bright light, everything else. But just to tell you, we are still on. I've been loving seeing all the different fibers that you guys are doing. I've chosen my own. And just as a hint, Ellie at Curio Stitches guessed right on what fiber I'm going to be spinning for my socks. And yeah, if you're just finding us and you don't know if you want to spin, well, grab your cup of coffee and just hang out with us anyway. I'd really like that. Now, to my friends who already have their fiber picked out and they've got their wheel or their spindle ready to go, here's a little homework for you. And I don't want that to sound bad, but it's something that's going to help you pass the time until I get the actual episode uploaded. But if you have enough fiber, and hopefully you have at least 6 ounces, maybe more, but just take a little length of your roving, or peel off some of your bat if you're spinning from a bat. This is about the length of my arm. And take that and go ahead and spin it. Spin your default spin or what you think is going to get you close to the sock yarn that you want. And one of the things that I have talked about in the episode that I've already got recorded is what kind of sock yarn are we going to spin. So I just am going to put this out there, guys. Hopefully it goes up okay. And there's also one more step, and I think I can get this uploaded. We have talked about the fiber and what we might choose to spin for socks. We've talked about the care and maintenance of our wheels and getting our wheels ready to spin. And there's one more thing that we need to take care of before we start spinning. And it'll only take you a few minutes, and so I hope you'll watch that, and I hope you'll take the time to treat yourself and get your hands all ready to spin your fiber. And then fingers crossed that I get this first episode up yet today, Distaff Day. If I don't, you'll laugh, or maybe you know this too, but in the middle of the night is when our internet works pretty well, and I can set it to upload then if the quality looks good. And if the horse keeps improving. Not my horse, my daughter's horse, but still. So again, thanks for being here, and thank you for understanding that these things happen. And just go ahead and do a little test spin. Like if you have enough fiber of the fiber that you've chosen, don't throw it away or tear it out, because then we can use it in your sock yarn. And just to get a feel for how that fiber is going to be, and what your default spin is. Because if we look at that, you know, if you can spin it and maybe just ply back onto itself, all you need is a few feet, yards, you know, a little distance. Then we'll know, do you need to spin thicker? Do you need to spin finer? Do you need a 3-ply? Is a 2-ply going to work? So consider that as maybe not homework, but as more research. Does that sound better? So I hope you're all doing well, and again, thank you for being here. And now I hope you'll watch this little clip about taking care of our most precious tools, our hands. We've talked about our fiber and we've talked about our spinning wheel or our spindles. And we've got one more thing that we need to talk about and to prepare before we start our spinning. And that's probably the most important tool that we have at our disposal, our hands. So we're going to do a little spot treatment for our hands before we start. I don't know about you, but it's wintertime here in Michigan, and my hands are especially suffering. And so I like to try to take good care of them. And even when it's not winter, I have really wimpy hands. Like I can't stand to get a bang or a bump or a cut on them. So anyway, this is just a little thing that you don't have to buy anything extra for, anything special. It only takes a minute or two and will make all the difference in the world, I think. I think you'll find. And it's something that you most likely have in your pantry. And that is just simple sugar. Now this happens to be raw sugar. That's why it's that dark brown. This is just sugar from the sugar bowl. And you can use salt too, but of course if you've got some little nicks or cuts on your hand, that's going to sting. But you can add a few drops of a good oil if you like, even just an olive oil. And if you have some essential oil and you want to put some fragrance in, go ahead. But I tend to only do this like a few tablespoons at a time, and I keep it by my kitchen sink so that I have it to rub over my hands. So just go to the sugar bowl, I'd get a little more than that, get like maybe a tablespoon, and put it over into a dedicated bowl, and really just run some warm water and rub that over your hands, on your knuckles, in between, around the cuticles, because those dry spots on your hands are going to snag your fibers, and you don't want that. And I have some wonderful lotions and salves for my hands that friends make, but that makes your hands sticky, and your wool is going to stick to it. If you do this, like I said, warm water, not hot, and then pat your hands dry, don't rub them, and then that will give you smooth hands that you should be able to draft your fiber with well. So let's take care of our hands for a few minutes before we go back to the wheel and start to spin.